So AEW, the Young Bucks, and Tony Khan made good on their promise to show the footage from backstage at All In between CM Punk and Jack Perry, and well, it showed exactly what we thought it would, and in a vacuum, yeah, CM Punk instigated the entire fight, and things completely and totally got out of hand. Not entirely sure why Tony Khan feared for his life. There's apparently more footage that's a little bit more sensitive and has some more personal information behind it that we weren't exactly privy to, and maybe that's behind an NDA or something like that. But this is one of those cases, and this is ultimately what everybody was kind of thinking at the same time, where you can be 100% correct, where you could be factually in the right. This isn't an issue that is being decided in a legal setting in a courtroom. This is being fought in the court of public opinion, and AEW looks like a clown show after this. Because let's be honest, who's left in the wrestling fan base right now? They created a culture, and now they have to reconcile with it. One that's not dissimilar to that of Hollywood, comics, sports, everything. Everything that you used to know and love has been taken over by a bunch of ideological weirdos, and well, have fun dancing to the violin while everything burns down around you. But let's take a look, because we've got the clip, we've got the commentary over the top of it. We can compare and contrast what Punk said at the beginning of last week on the the MMA Hour podcast and see if he was telling the truth or not. But AEW airs the footage of CM Punk and Jack Perry altercation from All In. Footage shows Punk putting Jack Perry in a front face lock. He was correct about that. Video, the backstage altercation at All In between CM Punk and Jack Perry was shown on Dynamite. The Young Bucks introduced the footage, playing into their storyline with FTR. Yeah, all of this was in service of furthering a match, a highly anticipated match, a match people would have been looking forward to begin with, so it didn't really need to drag up this drama. And yeah, they're trying to reintroduce Jack Perry into the fold, because in the aftermath of this All-In dust-up that resulted in Punk getting fired, Jack Perry was placed on an indefinite suspension, and since then he's come back to work a gimmick in New Japan Pro Wrestling, where he's going around as a scapegoat. He tore up his contract. He gave a couple of in-character interviews saying, "Oh no, I wanted to get let out, and oh no, nobody knows the full story." Well, here's what helps you out. I guess this was the idea behind it. You're not going to get over because of this. Like, yeah, you were done dirty. Yeah, somebody instigated violence against you. Doesn't make you look cool, doesn't make you look validated at all whatsoever. It just, well, as you'll see by some of the reaction that we'll get to eventually. But the footage has no audio, yeah, which I'll show here in a minute, but there's a bunch of people that were in there, and well, let's get Punk's retelling. Now, we went through this when I did the first video about the interview itself, but it does in fact bear repeating. So Jack came back from his match. This is Punk telling Helwani about the altercation. This is how he presented it. I'm in the next match. I'm sitting there. I got people with me. Well, he's not sitting there with anybody, but okay. I'm not going to say who they are, because I have a lot of friends who work there, and I wish them all well, and I don't want them to be punished because they're friends with me. So I walk up to him and I'm like, "Jack, why did you insist on doing this dumb internet shit on TV?" He's like, "If you have a problem, do something about it." I was like, "Come on, man, I can, kill you. Why are we doing this?" It's like Chael Sonnen says, "I can't let you get close." I thought I was doing the responsible thing. I didn't punch anybody. I just choked somebody a little bit. Smojo was there, told me to stop. I quit. I turned to Tony and I said, "This place is a fucking joke. You're a clown." I quit. I went to my room. Yeah, Joe and Jerry Lynn came in, got me, and we were like, "Let's go out there and kill it." I was too fired up. I'm fired up now. I'm probably going to regret talking about this shit, but that's what happened. No, actually, AEW regrets you talking about this shit, because it led to them releasing the footage where, yeah, things went down and everybody was like, "Oh God, what exactly is going to happen?" But yeah, no, there's no audio to this, so don't anticipate any, but I can just go ahead and commentate over the top of it. There you can see Joe in the background. Punk and Perry right there talking back and forth. It doesn't look like it's too terribly animated, but then, Punk I have no idea what his thought process is. You can't really tell what he's saying at the time, obviously. Yeah, and then he shoves them, and then things get completely and totally out of the way, and yeah, you can see Chris Hero. I don't know who that is in the background, but the guy in the pink is Chris Hero. Indie wrestling icon was Cassius Ohno. I do believe in the Fed for a minute. A couple of referees around at the time trying to break everything up, but yeah, going back to it. And then, Punk did throw a punch. So he lied. But hey, man, it's Punk after all, and it doesn't really much matter. It all comes out in the wash because at the end, yeah, this is obviously playing out in front of whatever AEW calls their gorilla position, where, you know, you have everybody who's running the show, watching the monitors and all that stuff. That's where it's playing out. So that's all back there. Punk leans back. He's super animated. Jerry Lynn, obviously, he's the guy in the black, okay, pulling everybody back. Then you got, you got Samoa Joe and I forget who walked over. It looked like Sanjay Dutt. It's probably Sanjay Dutt because he was out there earlier. Oh, yeah, because Hook was out there as well. So yeah, those were the guys that were out there on the pre-show. But yeah, they showed this in order to further the third Young Bucks FTR match because FTR was very close on screen and I think off screen with CM Punk, and they're trying to work a gimmick where they're the VPs really taking their job seriously. But I mean, come on. You have Punk right in the aftermath going to Instagram posting the infamous George Bush mission accomplished picture, and it's like, yeah, okay, CM Punk looks like an asshole in the aftermath where, yeah, he looks like he threw a strop and completely blew up, but this is stuff that we already know about CM Punk. It's not going to do anything to damage his reputation. That video right there isn't going to be getting anybody on side because you can take a look at the responses that are all over Twitter right now, and yep, everybody is just dunking on AEW, kind of like I thought. Kind of like everybody thought when we heard the announcement they're going to be playing this footage. It's like, yeah, you could be right. You could be 1000% right in playing the footage. What's on there could end up be damning against Punk. And you know what? In a court of law, it probably would be. Maybe you could argue that he was instigated. Didn't really look like it from the video that was provided. But in the court of public opinion, where this is ultimately getting decided, they look like fools and they're getting cooked for it. You know, you got Forbes down the results of, you know, AEW Dynamite. You got Edge. They're not even using his name that he's running with over there, like he's using his real name because Edge is a WWE trademarked moniker for their superstars. Went over Penta, yeah. El Zero Miedo, yeah, okay, that probably was a great match, okay. Shane Taylor Promotions defeated Chris Jericho, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata. Okada defeated Cristiano. Who the hell is that? And a couple of other things. And yeah, Samoa Joe over Dustin Rhodes. And oh yeah, CM Punk defeats Jack Perry. It's like, oh yeah, okay, cool. And CM Punk really bitched Jack Perry backstage and then went on to have a classic with Samoa Joe. That's my goat. CM Punk wasn't lying when he said AEW is a joke and called Tony Khan a clown. These brain dead man children EVPs just buried the whole company. Shit is actually worse than WCW 2000, and while it may not be true, and of course that's always going to be a subjective opinion, I seem to remember WCW 2000, and yeah, this would definitely slot right in there by taking stuff that normally played out in the dirt sheets to the television. I don't think that it's worse, because, like, you gotta cast your mind back to that. Like, that was a total clown show, but this right here, it's definitely the opening act of the three-ring circus, and then to make matters worse, something that would normally a little cringe on the show, like, Will Ospreay is intensely talented. He is one of, if not the most efficient wrestlers in the entire world. AEW's roster is stacked, man. Could run down the list of talent that they have, and it's a veritable who's who of the entire industry, but I've always maintained, you can go back and check the videos on it, okay? Will Ospreay, I recognize his talent. I've always thought that he's cringe. And then for him, the week when WWE, even if you go ahead and, you know, check the numbers, it's like, oh wow, you know, WrestleMania 40 is the best streaming live sports show that has ever been on Peacock. Well, what are the metrics that you're using? Minutes watched? Yeah, imagine that. It's a 2-night, 3+ hour show. So you got, what, 7 hours of content. What else could even be analogous to that? So yeah, it's the most watched by minutes accrued. Like, come on, man. We're taking a look at the monster rating that they just pulled for Raw after Mania. Not to mention, between hour 1 and hour 3, they dropped over 1 million viewers. You're telling me you pull a 2.8? What is it, a 2.8 rating in the first hour, and you couldn't even get 1.8 by the end of the show? Like, you lose 40% of your audience, and you're touting that as a gigantic victory? The entire industry, it deserves to burn at this point in time. Because when you have the audience just acting the fools like they are, continuing to cheer on this absolute dog shit, and the only time that they do turn on is because of the drama. And then you have the people in front of the camera, like Will Ospreay, taking shots at Triple H. because Triple H has an axe to grind because he's still butthurt about AEW beating the brakes off of NXT back when they had the Wednesday night skirmish. Like, Triple H said, oh yeah, like, what was his comment? His comment about free agents, okay, discussing not named on the Pat McAfee, who's also a part of the Fed. So yeah, it's all a big work. Like, Jesus Christ. Okay, when I see people that come out to try to make it all. To make it, and then they pick the job where they go, they work less, the schedule is lighter. All right, I'm glad I didn't get you because you're not in it for the grind, and at that point, early in your career, you have no business being here. What do you mean by grind? Being put into a box where, okay, you can obviously tell. Like your number one main draw right now. Everybody who said, oh, he's a superstar. After this weekend, he's a megastar. And just go ahead and check in with ratings in a couple of weeks. Like I said, okay, after the gimmick of the draft comes around, which is playing out at the end of the month, go ahead in the lead up to SummerSlam. Now that The Rock's not going to be there, now that Roman is definitely going to be 1,000% part-time, you go ahead and you check those ratings and you see what's happening over on network television with Fox and SmackDown. You take a look at what's happening in the dying days of the contract for the USA Network over on Raw. You go ahead and see if they even come close to sniffing anything that comes to a 2 and how much cope is going to be around the ratings when they're circling the drain at around a 1.5, just wondering if like, well, we got a really strong baseball competition. It's so funny, the cope that's out there right now. Oh my God, yeah. The big stiff competition that would normally be competition. But because there was such great word of mouth, but then in the lead up, there was all of this scuttle. The best one, the absolute best self-own was when they were describing all ratings were down in the lead up to WrestleMania, but they had really stiff women's basketball competition. Now you tell me the crossover audience between women's basketball and professional wrestling, you tell me that that's a big old demographic that was going to end up eating into a company where during its halcyon days, during the late 90s, early 2000s, when everything was cooking, when Stone Cold was on top, spinning gold for the company, when they were dwarfing Monday Night Football ratings, when they were eating into football ratings, when there were actually Monday Night Raw and Monday Nitro get-together parties. Where was the whole stiff competition cope right then? Oh no, wait. Wrestling's on its last legs. That's why it has to shill itself out to so many different advertising agencies. That's why it has to cut deals with streaming programs, or platforms rather, so that they don't have to report their dwindling ratings. That's why they have to take backhanded shots on podcasts to get more traffic than what they say on television. Then when you have idiots like Ospreay, take the bait, responding with dumb shit like this. I'm delivering some of the best professional wrestling matches the world has ever seen, bruv. Normally, I wouldn't rise to this type of bait. You did before. You had a very famous interaction with Seth Rollins, who was probably the only more cringy person on social media than Will Ospreay. Like I said, immensely talented, pathetic when it comes to social media. But anyways, but seeing as a guy who you said is said it is only in the position he is in because he grinded on the boss's daughter. No, you are in no position to tell me what the grind is all about, my friend, because you have no idea what I fight for. Somebody else's daughter. Oh, he's not the stepfather. He's the father who stepped up. So let this be a painful little jab and a little reminder that you don't throw stones at assassins with a machine gun. Get it? Because he's the aerial assassin. That's his nickname and gimmick. But yo, man, this shit is so fucking cringe, okay? Like, yeah, the footage was always gonna end up painting CM Punk in a bad light. That was the only reason that they were ever gonna bring it to television, okay? Like, for being honest, you could have seen that coming from a mile away, but also could have seen this backlash coming from a mile away. And well, as I said, we'll look forward to the future when it comes to WWE just going, I don't know why nobody's watching the product. Everybody was telling us back during Mania season that everything's great, despite simple mathematics. But also, if AEW can't just right the ship and stay focused, it'll be interesting to see where they are at the end of the year. But to be completely honest, when I see shit like this, it makes me not even want to engage with professional wrestling anymore. So yeah, unless something really crazy happens, you probably won't hear me talking about any of this stuff outside of the Vince McMahon ongoing lawsuit drama, and the way that the fan base wants to take sides on that one, again, really lets me know you guys cultivating that audience, the audience that has never grown a product, only killed it off, well, you're getting exactly what you deserve. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.